that is a downfall personally that must be studied. For those of you who did not get to see this man, this is Damien Sandow, who is an active WWE superstar in the early to mid 2010s. And this man's career in WWE is definitely a roller coaster ride. He was introduced before as a jobber tag team and even had a one-off on a pay-per-view with Paul London and Brian Kendrick. But that was before he became Damien Sandow. When he became Damien Sandow, he was introduced to us as the intellectual savior of the masses. Personally, I wasn't the biggest fan of the character, but there were times where he either teamed up with people, or at least a sudden placement on the card. I was willing to see where they were going with it. For example, there is a forgotten team that he was a part of with a certain former WWE champion way before he was even thought of being WWE champion. This is before he even Stardust. We're talking about Team Rhodes Scholars. So this is the team of Damien Sandow and Cody Rhodes, as you can see. And it was a tag team that somewhat got over, but unfortunately, for whatever reason, Vince McMahon and the booking team didn't see them as an over tag team. So they never really got pushed heavy, and I think to a point they were supposed to perform on WrestleMania, but actually got pushed off due to timing. And then later at some point, I believe in 2013, you had the traditional Money in the Bank ladder match. And as you can see, Damien Sandow at least won the World Heavyweight Championship version of the Money in the Bank ladder match. And I believe at the time it came down to him and Cody, where he actually betrayed Cody. And that could have been a really good storyline between the two, since they obviously were a tag team. But they didn't really do too much with that storyline or that rivalry. In fact, when it came to Damien Sandow and the Money in the Bank briefcase, even when he had a whole custom-made briefcase, he unfortunately failed and cashed in on John Cena and lost. And mind you, John Cena was injured at that time. So that just goes to show how much confidence they actually had in Damien Sandow. And then even after all of that fumbling and trouble, he managed to get himself over yet again, but for something completely different. This was his run as Damien Mizdow. This was, I think, in about 2014, 2015, where they actually won the WWE Tag Team Championships together. To the point, people were waiting for the blow-off that was supposed to culminate in the Battle Royal Andre the Giant Memorial one at WrestleMania 32, but yet Vince McMahon once again fumbled because that's not what they had in mind. So this is another superstar in many ways, shapes, and forms had gotten themselves over, but because of the weird decisions of the booking team and Vince McMahon, because it wasn't in their vision, they basically fumbled his career, at least in my opinion.